From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big early morning with breaking news this Thursday morning on your early mornings broadcast about Forced Stimulus Check Updated 2021. In this recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check that may actually give you more monthly checks, more months of checks, based upon the breaking news that happened in the last 24 hours. Second, we'll be going over the two-path process, the recon that has your checks in it and the bipartisan that doesn't concern you. Then we cut to the most important part of the forced stimulus, the third part of this recording, which goes over the linkage, how they call the vote, which is more important than when they call the vote. You'll see why it's critical. Then we turn to fifth stimulus, which heats up in the second half of the video. It gives you another stimulus check next year and raises your benefits up a lifetime. And then we cut to the tens of thousands of dollars of viewers are getting, like Nisi, who got $22,000 from this channel. We'll go over how you can get this money as well. It's a big morning, and this is exciting details. The toast is toasted, the video is burning. I don't know, something like that. The cappuccino is cupping. I'm here, you're here, and the bacon is missing. This is Early Mornings LALATE. Anxious for the weekend. I know I am one day away from the weekend. It was hot here in LA yesterday, a little too muggy. It was cool, the breeze, but it was muggy. I don't know. How's the weather where you are? Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather where you're watching in the live chat. In this video, we'll be going over forced stimulus with a lot of breaking details. You see how much in that opening teaser. Boy, forced stimulus, first the checks. We're going to see why details. Breaking news in the last 24 or 48 hours may signal you may be getting more checks than we initially thought. Number two, we'll be going over the two-path process, recon, that may have a lot more checks and a lot of other relief for you in just besides the stimulus checks. Where did this come from? And then in the third part of this video, we'll be going over how they call the vote and why that's more important than when they call the vote. I'll be going over what you need to know about that. And then in the second half of this video, we'll be going fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up, has another stimulus check next year. And then why viewers like Nisi are getting $22,000 and other viewers are getting $10,000, $12,000, and why you haven't got to this yet. I'm going to go over how you can in this video. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. At the same time of this broadcast is Overnight's Crypto. So after you're done with this show, it'll take you automatically into Overnight's Crypto. You don't have to lift a hand. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Next stop, 1 million. We're at 410. Thank you for 410,000 subscribers. Also, like this video. Every time you like the video, it helps put Mitch's mixtape in rotation. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment. Let's get into that monthly stimulus check and why there's new breaking details that may suggest you may get more checks. OMG. Let's go over all the details starting right now. The House bill provides a check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. That's the key words. More about that in a second. The Senate plan provides a stimulus check from July to December. The House bill provides $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. The Senate proposal, the monthly is unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Wow, now that's deliciousness. That's per person. That's $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000 a person, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400 a person. Now, what is the breaking news that impacts this? Well, we have been saying over the last few days, actually almost a week, that the House bill of pandemic plus 1 year may get just reduced to 1 year because the legislators may contend the pandemic's over. Well, yesterday, Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, head of Berkshire Hathaway, came out and said, the pandemic ain't over. The day before that, LA County said, the pandemic's not over. We have an upsurge of the Delta variant and is now requiring is recommending masks for even vaccinated people indoors. This signals that potentially the House may say the pandemic is not over. And that would result from the House bill paying you more than just 1 year checks, but pandemic plus 1 year, which would be more than $13,000 for the House. Compare that to this with the Senate. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Your opinion may be different than it was 24 hours ago, even 48 hours ago. There you go. A lot of breaking news, and we're just 2 minutes into this video. Fourth stimulus. Who gets that fourth stimulus check? Democrats want everyone who got a third stimulus check to get a fourth stimulus check. So if you make less than $75,000 or less, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Double it. A family of 4, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. It's the same amount for everyone. And the fourth stimulus check is a monthly stimulus check. It's not a check that comes in waves. So if you're at the beach today checking out the waves and you see the check trying to surf the waves, don't try to wave at the check on the waves. Hey, check, waving to you on the waves. Wipe out. It's not a waveable check. It's also not a good check at surfing. Don't try to wave at the check because the check won't wave back at you, even when on the waves, because it'll wipe out. So there you go. The fourth stimulus check will go to a vote by July 4th. The Democrats represent. They represent you're going to get a fourth stimulus check in July for July and in the month of August for the month of August. And there you go. That is the first of your 3 parts of your fourth stimulus check update 2021. But the most important part is the third part of this video. In the third part, I will be going over why the date in which they're calling the vote is not the critical issue you should be focused on, but how they're calling the vote. Here's a spoiler for this later part of this video. If you think that you heard, if for example you heard, let's say for example, that they're calling the vote on your fourth stimulus recon on Friday, and you go in the quarter and start dancing and celebrating, you should not, because guess what? In a second breath, they could say, we're calling the bipartisan vote today, Thursday. Why is that bad? I'll explain to you in the third part of this video. You need to know how they're calling the vote, not the date they're calling the vote. In the second part of this video, we'll be going over the 2 paths and why the recon stimulus and the fourth and the bipartisan being separated is wonderful news for you. Now you're getting an identity, and finally you're being protected by the progressives. I have all the breaking details on that as well. But here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, and it heats up this fall. Fifth stimulus is absolutely incredible. It raises your benefits up and applies a new benchmark and gives you another stimulus check. But we got breaking news about that as well. Oh boy, that's coming up later in this video. But let's get some money. Boy, you have been killing it. Viewers like Nisi got $22,000 from this channel in the last few days. Viewers consistently are jumping in live chat. I want you to do the same right now and sharing that they're getting $5, $10, $15, $12,000 day after day, viewer after viewer. What are they doing? They're cashing checks, not tracking checks. Get a pen and paper ready because I'm going to show you how you can get this money as well. When third stimulus passed, I told viewers there is going to be a $1,400 stimulus check in there, but you aren't going to be tracking the $1,400 stimulus check. You're going to be trying to cashing $14,000 of checks. Yes, there's a lot of money available for you, and that money's landing right now. I want you to get it. So get that pen and paper ready, and here we go. We're going to be going over rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also SNAP, and that's what I do on this channel if you're new here. In fall of 2020, we were waiting for second stimulus to pass. It wasn't yet passing, but the holidays were coming, and people needed money. So I stepped up, and I got viewers $250,000 during the holidays, much the same type of money I'm getting you now, with the same situation as we're waiting for fourth stimulus to pass. I got viewers like Tyrone, $15,000 for a family of 4 in Boston at the time for rent. So that's what we do on this channel. We cash the checks. And let's go over the rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also internet and SNAP, and also homeowners utilities starting right now. Each place has different eligibility. So if one says no, don't worry, reach out to the next. And here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Rent assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus and Mitch's ensemble for aerobics. They don't want to know that. They won't know it either. So don't say words they don't know. And there we go. Viewers in the last few days have gotten far in excess of what I usually say, $5,000 approximately for rent, 4 to 6 months of rent. They have been disproving me, getting $8, $9, $10, $11, $12,000 a person. You are killing it. And if you're on the live chat, jump right now and say what you got and anything you've gotten. If you posted before, post again because it inspires everyone else. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this big money. And the next pot of money is wonderful. It's Snap. Gail got it. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. And viewers are getting anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 on this routinely. What is SNAP? It is money for your food. It comes from Department of Agriculture. So reach out to Department of Agriculture to get this money. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of four in Hawaii now gets upwards of $16,000 per year. Why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. Boy, I mean, you are killing it. Whether it's Nisi and $22,000, you getting SNAP $15,000 for a family of four in Hawaii, $5,000 for rent, you're killing it. I'm killing it. Keep on inspiring everyone else. The check, you're not really killing it on the wave. Oh, another wipeout. Sorry, check. Yeah, a little soggy. Blow dryer. So there you go. We're killing it. We're only 11 minutes of this video. I got more money for you right now. The federal government has identified the states as owing you money, and one viewer got $5,000 for this. What is it? The federal government has identified states as overpaying you unemployment benefits due to computer error. Not your computer. Your computer works fine. It's their computer. The federal government has ordered the states to return that money back to you, and one viewer got $5,000 for this. So how are you going to get it? By direct deposit the account you have on file. When are you getting it? Call up your state and say, hey state, where's my check due to computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And finally, the last wonderful pot of money is that refund check from IRS. If you got this as well, jump in the live chat. It inspires everyone else. So Gail got it. Margaret got it. Cod got it, and Mike got it. Let's go over all the details. First, how much is it? Let's say you had $10,000 of $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of total taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? To direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, and reveal stuff you've never known before. Some stuff you're surprised to know, and some stuff you don't want to know. It'll reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid. It'll reveal, really, what does Mitch's aerobics ensemble look like? Ooh. It'll reveal why $12 ice cream really sort of tastes like $1 ice cream. And finally, we'll reveal the tax return, the tax refund check you're getting. Wow, can we top that? We can. As we go into the second part of your big forced stimulus check update 2021, starting right now. The second part is where we go over how the details of the last week really helped you. Over a week ago, actually 3 weeks ago, your checks were in a reconciliation item package. Where are they today? Still in a reconciliation package. What happened, however, in the last 3 weeks? Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were meeting with the president, said, Mr. President, there's too much in the recon. We need to take some stuff out of it and spin it off into something else. And finally, a week ago yesterday, Wednesday night, a week ago, the president agreed. The spin-off items, roads and bridges. And finally, we had two paths, the original recon, which has your stimulus, and the spin-off, which has roads and bridges. What's that TV spin-off about roads and bridges called? Nash Bridges. No, not Nash Bridges, roads and bridges. It's called bipartisan. Suddenly we had two paths, your original recon that had all your money in there, and bipartisan. Remember, bipartisan now has roads and bridges. But your recon is a separate path that always has been the wonderful items of progressiveness. Checks for you, climate checks, CARES economy checks, checks for seniors, checks for children, checks for medicine, checks for housing. I've never heard that on this channel. Well, you're hearing it on the first time today. Checks for children, checks for a lot of things. Now, what happened and why is this wonderful news? Two items of wonderful news that came out of this. One, suddenly forced stimulus recon had an identity. Before last Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, forced stimulus recon didn't have an identity. People were saying, naysayers, it's just roads and bridges. There's nothing in there for American people. This is about roads and bridges. Well, it never was only about roads and bridges. But now the roads and bridges were down the road and thrown in their own spinoff. Then the naysayers were silenced because suddenly they could see the recon and could see it was never only roads and bridges. It was also about checks, checks, and more checks. And as if we could not even ask for a better wish, Mitch McConnell made it easier for us because he came out and identified your recon as being checks by trash talking it. Thank you, Mitch. What did Mitch McConnell say? It's just a bunch of checks for progressive wish lists, a Democratic wish list for progressive to make socialism, for people to stay home and collect checks. And we'll create a welfare society. It's just a lot of checks for people who don't need checks. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you for doing, I appreciate that. Your check is in the mail, Mitch. I just appreciate it. No one likes to be trash talked. But suddenly, even the GOP was acknowledging the recon, which they wanted you to never know existed, was suddenly a lot of checks for you. That was the first item, which is the identity was now solved. The other thing that was wonderful was that the recon suddenly got its own fort. If you had noticed the quotes from Jalopal to the president, to progressives over the last week, they're always talking about protecting the recon, protecting the progressive policies. And we never understood what they were referring to. You're going to see a lot of quotes in this video where I'm referring back to something that happened 10 days ago. Guess what? Because they were plotting this out 10 days ago, we now learn. We didn't know it when we were reading the quotes when they first came out. We now learn that the progressives were protecting that recon because the recon has now become as progressive as the progressives want it. And you're going to see a quote later in this video where the progressives admit that the recon is actually getting more larger than it was before, that more checks are being added in there, and it's getting actually more wish lists of the progressives in there than it even was before. Why? Because of Fort Recon, F-O-R-T. It's become a fort, and now that the drawbridge to go in the fort has been raised above the moat and you can't get into that recon that is only progressives are piling in more progressive checks in there. And finally, roads and bridges down the road are furious. Mitch McConnell's furious because suddenly recon is protected in a fort where progressives are doing what they wish. How do we get to this wonderful spot? Well, Jalopal had made that comment 2 weeks ago. And Jalopal, in that comment, said with that other progressive that the president had thanked Jalopal for protecting his recon. Now you see why Jalopal was saying this. It wasn't clear at the time. Jalopal said that the White House had told her to keep on doing what she was doing. And then Brian Schatz, another progressive, a Democrat of Hawaii, said the White House had repeatedly told him that the progressive policies in the recon are the White House's own priorities. Oh, I see what's going on. And that the progressives should continue to do what they're doing to protect the recon. Wow. How did we get to this wonderful spot? By Jalopal. Jalopal had Rich and Schumer a letter about 2 weeks ago saying, Chuck, call the vote on the fourth stimulus. Now, that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats from among the 100-plus House Democrats who had written the president a letter a week earlier saying, Mr. President, we're going to be putting monthly fourth stimulus checks into the fourth stimulus recon. Wow. Now, that's wonderful news. Can we top that? We can. As 7 House subcommittee members wrote the president a letter about a week ago saying that when we write fourth stimulus recon, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks into the recon. Interesting. You now see how this is folding out? You see how I'm saying the word recon? It was not going into roads and bridges. It was going into recon. Now, who are these people to say that? They're on the House subcommittee that wrote your third stimulus recon checks. Yes, they wrote the third stimulus recon checks in the spring. And guess what they also say they're doing? They're putting fifth stimulus checks into the fifth stimulus recon this fall. You see a recurring trend here? Yes, more about these people later in this video. They also wrote your first and second stimulus checks as well. Wow, can we top that? We can. When the president, now here you go, you're going to see this reoccurring theme. 2 Saturdays ago, went overseas and got an international agreement from other leaders to get international taxes changed to help pass his fourth stimulus recon, which is paid for by corporate taxes. Remember, of the 2 passed, recon is paid by corporate taxes. The bipartisan is not paid by corporate taxes. In fact, the bipartisan involves staying away from taxes. See how the president was plotting this out for everyone who says they're dragging their feet. Oh, no, they aren't dragging their feet. They were plotting this out for 2 to 3 weeks. Every step, and you're going to see another comment from Jalopal later in this video, everything shows that they were plotting this out. The president 3 weeks ago said that I need to pass fourth stimulus recon by raising corporate taxes, but I'm worried if I raise the corporate taxes, business may leave the United States for another country. With lower tax rates. So he reached out to those countries with lower tax rates, and those countries said, yeah, we'll raise them. To which the president reached out to his staff and said, hi, staff, those countries like what I'm saying. Let's go meet them in December and bring some of Jill's potpourri and have them sign on the dotted line. To which the staff said, Mr. President, they like potpourri in June. Go visit them now. So the president did go visit them 2 Saturdays ago and had them sign on the bottom line that they would raise the international corporate tax rate so that it's easier to pass forced stimulus recon, anchoring forced stimulus recon to the other finish line. Because while it has provisions in there about corporate taxes, now he doesn't need provisions in the recon for corporate taxes internationally because they're covered in the international agreement, the provisions about taxes, making it easier to pass forced stimulus recon. Wow, now that's wonderful news. People plotting to get that recon passed. OMG, can we top that? We can. As we go into the third and most important part of this video, where you'll see that the day they vote is not the critical issue, it's how they vote. Because they can call the vote today, but if they call the vote for something else before it, your items will fall apart. I'm going to explain to you why, and why it's not going to happen in a bad way. It's going to happen in a beautiful way. It's the final update of our Big Four Stimulus Check update. But first, here's a preview of the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utility, internet, or SNAP, and you have not been able to find it, don't worry. Reach out to the volunteers. They're on the community page. How do you find the community page? Go down the description. In the description, you'll see an emoji of a house. Click on that emoji of a house. It'll send you to the community page, news.lalate.com/community. They are viewers just like you. They truly embody the Purple Power spirit. If you saw during this live chat this morning, people saying they got rent or utilities or internet or SNAP and you can't get it. You tried to find it and you can't find it. Don't worry. Reach out to the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And they can get that money for you. Now, they cannot cook you a tostada. They cannot give you directions to the casino. They cannot tell you if it's muddled blue or murdered blue. But they can get you all the rest of the stuff. And I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with a big, massive finale. You can't miss this on forced stimulus and the great news about fifth stimulus. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals. Reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on early mornings LA. The toast is toasting. The butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and the geese are here apparently as well. Those are nice geese, aren't they? What a big morning it is as forced stimulus heats up with incredible details about the vote. In the final part of this video, we'll be going over the vote, and the date of the vote is not the critical one. How they call the vote, and I'm going to go over those details. So when you understand this, you can share this with other people who ask the question as well. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up a lifetime. Oh my goodness, there's so much happening in the second half. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button. 410,000 subscribers. Thank you. Next stop, 420. Also, like this video. Every time you like the video, it helps in the algorithm rankings. Don't forget to like it. It also delivers you peanuts. with cashews. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the channel, the pinned comment. Stay with this video. It'll automatically take you into overnight's crypto when this show is over. Let's cut to fifth stimulus with so much breaking news. There was so much breaking news on fifth stimulus yesterday. First, we're going to go over that monthly stimulus check. Yeah, you see how that monthly stimulus check for the fourth stimulus is fascinating from those House subcommittee members who are writing it for recon as they represent. Well, they're representing, they're writing one for fifth stimulus recon. And that would be for January 2022. It would go to a vote around December, November, October, and it would start legislating around September. Number two, the president has dedicated $1 trillion I don't remember, $1 billion to the Social Security Administration for ensuring that you get money going forward on time. This is fourth stimulus, fifth stimulus, and your monthly benefits checks. Remember, if you never got a third stimulus check, you never got a second stimulus check, you must file a 2020 return to request it. Do not be tracking it. It's not coming. You have to file that tax return. Finally, we saw a lot of major economic detail yesterday. The private payroll numbers rose by 692,000, beating expectations. Lumber prices fell by 40%, the biggest monthly drop on record. This is fueling home sales going back up again. All this means what? Great inflation. When we talk about fifth stimulus, a lot of you have learned well from these videos that fifth stimulus will have a lot of wonderful changes to SSI to VA reform. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll apply an inflationary benchmark. They'll remove the asset limit. They'll remove the income exclusion and remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over how this calculation works after you've learned so much from these videos on the steps. First, you've learned that everyone's benefits will be raised up a lifetime. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, or SSA, or casino benefits. Then they'll apply a new benchmark you've learned. And you understand now how a benchmark works. It's applied in December for next year's benefits. And you know the new benchmark will be inflation. And you know that inflation's going up. And you know that inflation rate will reach its highest spot in December, based upon the comments from Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, last Wednesday. Wow. So is there anything left for us to know? Yes. How much will that inflation rate be? We won't know that till the very last minute, but now there's enough indication that suggests, yeah, it might be approaching 10%. From 4 now to 10% then. Let's go over the calculation. First, we'll raise your benefits up one time. Then they'll apply the benchmark in December for next year. And if the benchmark is 10% inflation, then your benefits would step up 10%. Not just next year, but a lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. Then, if next year the inflation is 1%, then you'll be a +1, +10%. Wow, that's wonderful news. Can you top that? You can. As they're also going to remove the asset cap. Dating back to a 1980s law, says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. Now you'll be able to have some stimulus checks in your hand and a nice churro. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, they're going to remove the marriage penalty. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest and do a pair dance. And you will no longer fear the marriage penalty, and the marriage penalty will fear you. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. Now, how are these viewers like Nisi getting $22,000 from this channel? And viewers like Art, who are getting 3 items for this channel, and viewers who are getting $5,000, $10,000 for rent, $12,000 for rent, and $5,000 to $7,000 for SNAP? If you notice this familiarity, they're members. If you're seeing them in the live chat, they got a purple hawk next to their name, they've become members. The membership link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment. Daily, members are delivered from me to them a breakdown of all the big money for them to get. In third stimulus, there's fortunes for you to get. You should not be sitting around and trying to ask, when am I getting a third stimulus check in February this year? You should have been cashing the big checks that are available for you on the third stimulus, and you still can. So consider becoming a member so you're delivered daily all the big money that you know you can now, that you can learn to know to apply for and get this big money across the board. From third stimulus now, and in the future weeks from fourth and fifth stimulus. And there you go. Which brings us into the big finale. And this is the most important one, about your fourth stimulus. Suddenly, fourth stimulus became a much easier item. Why? And suddenly, fourth stimulus recon got a little bit larger this week. How? I thought they spun off the bipartisan. Suddenly, the recon fourth stimulus got its own identity as being all your money. Money for Americans. Checks, checks, and more checks. Suddenly the identity came around, and now recon got its identity. Bipartisan roads as bridges, and everything that had overshadowed you is finally away from you. But what also happened was the protection of the recon in Fort Recon became very strong. But ironically, unbeknownst to us, they were doing that over the last 2 weeks. In the next new comments you're going to see for the first time on Early Mornings broadcast, you'll see that these progressives have been plotting this over the last few weeks. And that now, and you're going to hear this for the first time on Early Mornings broadcast, now that roads and bridges are out of recon, and recon is only progressive policies, suddenly the progressives are adding more checks in there than before. Yeah, we had talked about stimulus checks, we had talked about checks for seniors and medicine and climate and electric vehicles and children and other checks. Well, how about housing checks? What? Lots of other checks. We now learned late yesterday the Progressive Caucus has been repeatedly telling the White House that they will not support the bipartisan bill unless there is huge spending in the recon. And if that's not clear enough, let's have a direct quote from the progressive herself, Ilhan Omar, Democrat from Minnesota. We Democrats have a commitment that regardless of what happens with the bipartisan legislation, they, Democrats, will give us a recon that goes as far as us progressives want it to go. OMG. Yeah, suddenly you see the wonders of having that recon by itself, with all the progressive ideologies, with all the Democratic policies separated by itself, and now the progressives saying, yeah, we're protecting this like gold, and now we're going to ask for as much progressiveness and as many checks as we want. Wow. And it doesn't stop there. Representative Richie Torrey, Democrat of New York, the other side of the country, said that I refuse to vote for any bill that isn't linked to the recon. And he is making his priority that the recon has housing relief. Oh my goodness. Pile on? Yes. More progressive pile-ons into the fourth stimulus than even before. The linkage to the recon must happen, says Torres. Can it get better than that? Yes. So what's going on here? What's going on here, and this is what's critical for you to know, is that it's not the issue of what day they're calling the recon. And I'm sure that all throughout the day, all throughout tomorrow, people will say, are they calling the vote today? Are they calling the vote tomorrow? Are they calling the vote Monday? How about the calendar? I see the calendar. I see this. Here's what you need to know, is that if you are hearing at one time at any moment that they're calling the vote on your recon on a particular day, let's choose the date, Wednesday, you should not be jumping up and down and vote and dancing. Not that this event would ever happen. It's not going to happen. But you should not be jumping up and down and dancing because you have to hear what day they're calling the bipartisan. If the next sentence you're going to hear is, oh, and they're calling the bipartisan on Monday, yeah, suddenly your recon has gone away. Your recon's never going to pass. This is what's critical. The recon must be voted on before the bipartisan or on the same at the same exact time. If it isn't, the recon blows up. It doesn't get passed. Everyone knows that. Every progressive knows that. And if this isn't clear to you at all, everyone has been plotting this for 2 weeks and keeping a secret from you. Jalapal had the quote. Us progressives and Democrats have an agenda we wish to accomplish, and linking the recon with the bipartisan is the only way to get accomplished. Us progressive and Democrats did a poll of our members 10 days ago. 10 days ago. Yes. And the overwhelming majority of our caucus said they are not going to vote for the bipartisan without the recon going for a vote first. They were preparing this all along. The recon has to go for a vote first or at the same time as the bipartisan. The recon cannot go after the bipartisan. It will never pass. There you go. Now, what you need to know then is it's not so much the day, but the order or how they do it. The recon must go first or at the same time as the bipartisan can't go after. But you don't even need to worry about this. And here we go with a big finale. You don't even have to worry about it because it will. who's in control for when things are voted on, when things are called for a vote, how things are called for a vote, and what is voted upon? Two people, neither of which is Mitch McConnell. It is Chuck Schumer, the head of the Senate, and Nancy Pelosi, the head of the House. Under the Constitution, the Speaker of the House, and under the Constitution, the leader of the Senate determine when bills are called for a vote, when they're called for a vote, and how they're called for a vote. And Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are not calling the recon second, ever. So there you go. You have your protection, you have your stimulus, you have your items, and you have your protection. As Nancy Pelosi says, there ain't going to be no bipartisan bill unless we have a recon vote. And as I said, there won't be a bipartisan bill unless we have a recon bill. Plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be a bipartisan bill unless we have a recon bill passed by the U.S. Senate first, and there you go. Wow. Away we go. For stimulus heating up, they can get those stimulus checks still out in the month of July, but you want to ensure that they do it the right way. They are doing it the right way. Your recon is separated from the bipartisan. It's getting its own identity. It has gotten its own identity. It's getting trash talked by Mitch McConnell because he's furious that there's checks for everyone in there. And when Mitch McConnell's furious, you know you're winning. And that is Early Mornings LA. So subscribe. At 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you to hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video, 3,000 likes. Wait, stop the music. I forgot something. Purple Power Push. I haven't said Purple Power Push enough in the last 2 days. In fact, I think I only said in one video yesterday. You gotta push. For every person who says, what day am I getting my stimulus check? What day are they calling the vote? What day are they sending out the check? Donut. We are not donut people. We are not donut guy. Can't do that. You have to push to the very last second until it's signed into law. You cannot put your feet up. Here's the example. Last Friday on Noontime LA, WR revealed in the live chat that he picked up the phone, per my advice, called his Senator Coons, Democrat out of Delaware, expressed to her secretary why he thinks multiple stimulus checks are needed by the American people, why he needs multiple stimulus checks. Expressed his pitch, very professional, very respectful, planned it out. At the end of the conversation, the secretary said, yes, Senator Coons is putting monthly stimulus checks in the Senate proposal for you. Now, I'm not going to do a very big wow for you because I don't want you to be the donut guy and let WR do all the work for you. I want you to pick up that phone right today and call your senator, your Democratic senator, your progressive senators, and say, we need multiple stimulus checks in there. Explain your opinion, position professionally, respectfully. Think it out ahead of time. What's different about your city, or your town, or you, or your community, or what's going on, or your age bracket. Express it professionally and have them understand it. And you need to push Purple Power down the last second. We are not purple. We are not donut guides. We're not holding our hand up. We're not waiting for something to land in our hands. And you're cashing checks like Nisi, like Art, that are getting $10, $12, $22,000 on this channel in just the last few days. Get that money, because ultimately money is money. And when the stimulus check comes, it comes, and it will come in the month of July if they do what they represent. And with that, subscribe. At 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. I'll see you next on Overnight's Crypto, which this video takes you automatically into, coming up right next. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful early mornings broadcast, and stay with LA.